welcome back to the Home Away Show. And we're going on with Casey Gane here. And we want to talk more about the book Inside the CIA Secret War in Jamaica. Would you like to expand more, Yes.
I had to show them the book.
About the relations between China and Africa.
Well, it's kind of interesting because, post the book is you've had a real big fight between you had a real big fight kind of between Russia and the USA for the third world for so many years. And then they're kind of getting weaker. And China's getting stronger. So when I was in Jamaica, it was the Chinese building the roads, the Chinese owning the store. So before you might have had, America has always kind of done what they call neo-colonialization, which is not quite making Jamaica a colony, but making Jamaica economic dependent, pushing kind of American businesses there. But you see, Obama was in Jamaica saying, Wagwan, Jamaica. One of the reasons he was there was to be an ambassador for American business because the Chinese are coming in and they're building roads and they're starting businesses and they're kind of becoming the new neo-colonizers. And it's happening in Africa as well. They're doing the same thing. They're kind of running these businesses, building these roads, but with these favors, you become dependent. Yes. So they build your road and you say, hey, that's great, now we have a road. Then now we built our road, but we want to open a business here.
At what point, sorry to interrupt you, but at what point did Obama decide to become a part of this touristical interest in Jamaica?
I think he's always been kind of like a puppet face ambassador for America, especially when they see how the world is brown. So it's better, for
him to represent. Okay, I see.
Yeah, especially because as being an ambassador of that. So I think Obama, he takes in a lot. I think he's a good actor, so he can do hip hop, he can play basketball, he can talk reggae. But then
I'm so glad that you said that he's a good actor, because don't you feel like politics, just the whole stage is
political
a big stage.
theater.
Yeah,
that's what they call it, political theater. Yeah. And that's why, when I love doing research, because you find out what's really going on behind the scenes. People who watch MSNBC and Fox, they think they know what's going on when they're just watching the political theater.
You know who's my favorite character?
Who?
Kellyanne Conway.
She's great. She's great. The whole Trump team, Spicer, Trump is amazing. If you could do a character like Peter Griffin and Homer Simpson and make him just so confident and stupid. It would be hard to make a Donald Trump or a villain from Superman.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing political theater, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
How do you think Trump has done so far?
Well, me personally, I think he's done exactly what they were expecting.
I'd say so.
He hasn't done anything different. He's a comedian, he's bringing the show every day, and we just can't wait.
Exactly.
Talking about the situation about how China is dominated, what's going on, especially in Africa, I just wanted to ask you this question. You looking in as an outsider, well, you part of us, we part of you.
Right.
But I'm just saying, what's going on, especially in a lot of third world countries, how China just came in. Basically, they are doing all of this. Is there hope, though, for those countries to be able to create things of their own? Or is there hope for those countries to actually get that independence? Because think about it. The U.S. has a debt against China, right?
Yep.
All these other countries, too, are accumulating debt with China so that they can, they can survive. Or they can be able to pay their bills. Or they can be able to open shops. But is there hope that those countries are not going to... Because I feel like it's another new colonization.
It is a new colonization, and I think I do see there's hope in Africa, because I think you always have innovation in Africa. I think there was some people who they ran a car off urine, and there's always a new way to find a new technology, or build a car, or power your whole village with wind turbines. And from what I see here is... the African immigrants are the mathematicians, the scientists, and that's what they need to get on the robots.
Yeah.
Learn how to program the robots so they don't take your job. So when they need someone to
you can just switch it off and they do it manually, right?
Exactly. So I do see hope in Africa, and I know China is kind of becoming I don't think they're anything worse than what Russia and America were. They're just kind of taking Russia and America's place.
Okay.
And it'll be nice to have these countries become fully independent, but because of the way the global economic structure is, and a lot of international laws, it's really easy for a country like China to prey. But what I would see is like people might criticize the European Union, but I feel if you have an African Union, so if they need cobalt, they can't say, all right, we can't get it in the Congo, so we're going to get it here. But you guys could just set the price.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Arabs do with oil. They say, hey, this is our price. This is what you got to pay. But the Chinese will exploit you, and they'll say, hey, we'll get it from here, and then we'll lower the price here. And then they might have a corrupt leader who might take $1 million kickback and say, you know what, I'll give it to you for damn near free. Just give me a
Chinese people
kickback.
are very great salespeople. Won't you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been to a big Chinatown in China. Big
Really?
Chinatown in China. This is how they sell you something. They bring a calculator, right? Let's say Kuli wants this microphone for a certain set amount of money. They will take a calculator and then just tell you how much it is. And then you're selling the same thing. And then you come to me and then you put this in. And I'm like, wow, it's just a matter of like body language. You walk away. They don't even know what the other one sold to you for. You just like walk away from them until it's like the lowest price.
Yeah.
That's a good way from economics. And you know, there's so many people there, and that's one reason China is an economic power. They have 1 billion people.
Yeah.
And like in the Caribbean, you might have a country with 2 million people, 3 million people. Africa, I think, Nigeria, Ghana might have some populations. But I think even when you look at Africa as having a lot of natural resources, even like cobalt, everybody has an iPhone. Everyone has an Android. This is that is new gold, new diamonds.
Speak of Ghana. You said that a lot of it's growing in economy or in population.
Ghana is growing in economy, and it's becoming kind of. I'd say Ghana and South Africa are like the destination bright spots of Africa.
I have a question to ask. Okay, I have a lot of friends, African American friends of mine, who have been to Africa, and the first place that they go to is Ghana. So what I want to know is if you've known any friends who have gone to Ghana and they've told you that they're a chief there.
A chief? They never told me they're a chief. They told me they had a great time.
A village.
But like I'm saying, you could do like with 23andMe and all this genealogy shit.
Yeah.
You could find out. But
no, not like that. It's like
they become a chief.
No, they go there coming from America with American dollars, and then they're like, you're now a chief. And
that's yeah. I mean, the black Americans in Jamaica too. You could be a don.
Yeah,
you could be a don in Jamaica. You come with enough money.
That's why in the Western movies you always saw like a guy who came from another town. He just walks in and he beats up everybody. He doesn't really say anything, like Clint Eastwood, right?
Yeah.
With his cigar, his head down, goes into a saloon, kicks it, orders the strongest drinks, rapes the women, and lets them talk. You know, that's how you gotta be, right? No,
I don't think. No, I think Americans just come and then they might have the image that they're kind of domineering, but then. These Africans are just getting their money, hustling, because the money, the American money goes far in other places. Like you go to Jamaica, like $20 might be just 2 drinks for me, but that might be able to feed the family for a week. So I feel like maybe the Americans might think, "Hey, I'm over here, I'm the big chief." Yeah. And then, but the Ghanaians are
like, we'll get.
He paid for my new iPhone, and he think he's a chief.
So that's what happens. That's
what I would guess, because I know how people hustle tourists. The Jamaicans hustle. Yeah.
Let's talk about the currency, because I'm very interested into currency, because I was just listening to something about currency devaluation. You know, but I want to talk about actual currency in terms of what do you see the dollar is going forward? Because the thing is, if we're saying China, we're saying Arabs are taking over, meaning the Arabian nations in terms of the oil and everything.
Right.
Won't that somehow that currency becomes stronger than a dollar as the time goes on?
We'll see. I think China, I don't see America's going too far, because I remember coming to Jamaica and the dollar was the dollar, then the dollar was $5, and it was $10.
Really?
Yeah, from when I was a little kid, the dollar was $1.
Yeah.
And then now it's 120 because it's just.
It's same as in South Africa.
Yeah.
Really close
so I still see America's kind of being an economic power, and I know China knows that There's still some money here. That's why they keep giving the loans.
Yes.
So I don't see. The Chinese currency is not the yen. I don't see it become. But I do see maybe like a digital currency, like a Bitcoin or something that all nations could kind of rally around.
Oh, okay.
A universal
and
currency.
it's just going to be the universal one. Oh,
because a lot of places use the dollar as their kind of currency, like even Gaddafi, which is I've done a little research on what happened in Libya.
It's just like the name dollar.
Yeah. Well, Gaddafi wanted to start an African currency. And the dinar. It was a gold dinar, and that would replace the American dollar as the kind of universal currency in Africa.
And would it be actual gold?
Yeah, I believe so. I can't.
Yeah, I think he wanted to make it there.
But he wanted to do kind of like I was saying, like kind of unite Africa, and that's one of the reasons that the French and the Americans kind of started this revolt with the CIA and Islamic extremists to kind of overthrow Gaddafi because of the threat of the currency.
Do you really think? Because I feel like that's not been covered a lot in American media.
No.
In terms of Gaddafi was set up, right?
He was definitely set up. I'm not going to say Gaddafi was a saint, and because America supported a whole bunch of people who weren't saints. Yeah. But under him, women had rights.
Yes.
There was a somewhat stable economy, education. After him, after the American, Hillary Clinton says, we came, we saw, we killed him. After a lot of dirty stuff that Hillary Clinton was doing was going on to start her own mercenary agency. So she wanted the war. Yeah. So her friend's mercenary agency could come in and take over. So it wasn't like they'll say it's humanitarian. We need to stop Gaddafi from killing the civilians. They don't care about the civilians.
They don't care.
They care about their currency, their power, their oil. That's what they cared about. So that's what that really was about. And Gaddafi was another person who supported Mandela again.
Absolutely. He was
like him and Castro are vilified in Western media, and of course they do have their issues. But Gaddafi was one of the people who would stand up for Nelson Mandela when American government was supporting apartheid.
It's very, very few brown people that didn't support Nelson Mandela, right?
If you look at that's not true at all, because you did have in Angola, the CIA would always have their Buthelezis. I don't know if he was CIA.
Buthelezi, IFP.
Yeah.
You don't know if he was CIA.
I'm not sure if he was CIA. He could have been CIA.
But at the time, though, he also was playing two parts.
Right.
To keep the organization.
Right.
Because the ANC was being eradicated as quickly as possible. Yeah. So he had to keep the ANC alive.
But that's a big pattern what the CIA will do. If they have a force like they don't like Nelson Mandela, they'll find the opposition and they'll support him and they'll arm him. So I don't know, but it seems like a CIA game plan to support Buthelezi.
But let me ask you a question though. This is the funny thing about this whole entire thing, is that how can Gaddafi, with all the money and with all the power, and how can Saddam Hussein, with all the money, with all the power, be found in a place like a hole, like the way they hide? Like, couldn't you go to another country? Because you know this, I know this. There's countries that can actually sell you a passport, sell you a citizenship. Couldn't they go to a different country and hide on a different name?
It's very possible. They say that about Hitler. They say Hitler didn't kill himself. He just kind of left and went to Argentina. And of course, Saddam had doubles. So
see what I'm saying? You never know, right?
Now, you're saying that they could have got the wrong man.
Or they could have gotten the person that he made a deal with them with.
Yeah,
like,
and the media lies so much, you never know when to trust them or not.
You just never know.
Sometimes I'm not saying I know, like I hate to say something.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless I know it's true. But just because they say it's true, I don't.
We don't know. We don't know. Nothing is confirmed. This is all alleged.
Yeah. So and even Saddam Hussein was another person the American government supported. If you look at Gaddafi, he has had the support of the CIA since the 70s. So the CIA has a pattern of setting someone up, like a Noriega, like Mobutu, like and then they take them down when it gets too hot. Even there was a recent report of Pablo Escobar's son saying his father worked with the CIA and fought the CIA very closely. And of course, Pablo Escobar is the notorious cocaine kingpin. But they set him up and then they take them down when they're expendable, and then they can find another drug dealer or another dictator to take your job. Yeah.
So okay, you're talking about some really nice stuff over here. I just want to know, in your own opinion, why did the U.S. go to Iraq in the first place? Because I say this thing about the oil and all of that, but I don't believe there's all of that.
No, it's not. In America, we have what's called the military-industrial complex,
Okay.
which is a very powerful kind of quiet element of the government. And these companies and these people and these politicians get paid when there's war.
Yeah.
So they want war so they can fund their mercenary groups. They want it so they can fund their NGOs. They want it so they can fund their weapon manufacturers. So there's an active element of the American government that's always pushing for a war somewhere for whatever reason. Obviously, there was still tension between Bush Jr. because of Bush Sr. and Saddam, and it was all bad blood. And
nowadays he looks like a nice guy.
He's not. He's so evil.
I know, but nowadays the way that they show him in these
that's
shows,
the media, that's
he
what
goes
they
to
do.
talk shows.
Ellen, how's Ellen has a mass murderer?
I know.
And she doesn't have to. So
no,
what
she's
about,
like, how are people? People have been hard on you. The media has been hard on you. He's
what
like,
about those 4 million people you killed in Iraq? Does that rest easy on your soul?
I'm not gonna lie. I always found Bush funny, so that's just me. You know,
But
he was hilarious.
He was, and I think that's another thing with Trump. It's such a distraction.
I started that way. I started
you
that way
have
with
the
Trump.
popular, funny leader, and everyone. I be telling people think Bush was dumb. He was not dumb. He was very crafty, very smart.
Yes.
His father is the mastermind behind a lot of things. Like he was involved in the JFK assassination,
Yes.
Iran Contra, a lot of what we call the deep state, like behind the scenes actions from assassinations, drug runnings. He's been involved in a lot of that.
Yeah.
And his son was as well.
Yes.
And so he comes in with the kind of good old boy, goofy, I messed up look, but it's really, he's smart, he's crafty, he's CIA himself, he's a kind of spy. Even Obama, CIA.
You know what? I heard you on Opperman about this, and I was going to ask you. You said, this is really interesting, Casey. You went to Cambridge.
I went to Columbia.
Columbia.
Same university as Obama.
Yes.
But did you say that
the
you didn't
biracial
find
kids
anything
go
about him?
I can't find a picture of him on campus. I've been going to Black alumni events for years. I've never met anyone who's met him.
So he could be the CIA.
His mother worked for USAID and the Ford Foundation in Indonesia. Those are CIA front companies. It's well known that if America wants to infiltrate a country, they'll use an NGO like USAID, and they'll set up their people, and then they'll destabilize and handle their business, whatever. Like besides like embassies, where you might have like CIA agents, the next most common place would be an NGO.
Speak of Obama's mom. How was your mom influential to you and your being and your love of hip hop, your love of culture, your love of
Well, she was definitely as a fighter. Like I was always proud. Like I always heard the stories of her fighting in South Africa and bombing strategic targets, never civilians, and then being banned from the country. So always, being proud of her as a fighter and an intellectual.
She was in exile in America.
Yeah, she was in exile. And I found out recently that she was still followed.
To her because she has
passed away.
Yeah,
but I just thank you. But she was followed by the SAP even when she was in the United States.
Oh, really?
The South African secret police were like still keeping tabs on her. So just as someone who was a kind of rebel who kind of questions authority, like even though apartheid isn't happening in the States, we still have a very kind of evil and corrupt government, and it's not as evil and racist, but it's very class-based, and there's a lot. So I feel like I've inherited the fighting system, and my mother loved books. So she was an English teacher, so she would always
Which
read to me.
university was it?
I think she went to Rhodes.
Oh, Rhodes. Yeah. Okay.
She went to Rhodes, and then she went to MIT, and that, and she loves like Charles Dickens. She loves also she taught post-colonial literature, so she loves like Salman Rushdie, Zadie Smith. So I kind of inherited a love of literature.
And she was a teacher too.
Yeah, she taught at the University of Zululand. After she was banned from South Africa when Nelson Mandela came to power, they let her come back.
Why was she banned?
Because they caught her.
She was in exile.
Yeah, she was in an organization that was like bombing strategic targets.
Was exiled.
And someone ratted on her, and she went to court. And no, if she was black, they probably would have killed her or thrown her into the jail. But she was white, so they were like, "All right, take a passport."
And then she was in your face. Not only am I gonna go for a black man, I'm gonna go for a Jamaican.
I think she just fell in love with my father. I don't know if that was an act of defiance.
Well, guys. All right, guys. We'll be right back.